problem, I want to verify that these two functions are in fact inverse of one another. They say that they are, because this says it's f of x, and this says it's f negative 1 of x. So it's telling me that they're inverses, but I need to verify. And the way I verify this is I go f of f minus 1 of x, and see if that is equal to x. And then I go f minus 1 of f of x, and I see if that is equal to x. So it's taking one step forward and one step back and winding up at the same place. That will tell me whether they are inverse of one another. So let's start off by doing let's start off by doing this one. So I'm going to rewrite my formula. And remember, if I wanted f of 3, I would take my f of x and I would plug 3 in over here. But I don't want f of 3. I want f of f minus 1 of x, of that. So I'm going to take this whole expression, and that is going to replace my x right over here. So I would write f of f minus 1 of x is equal to 1 over 2 times f minus 1 of x, which is 1 over 2x minus 1/2, plus 1. And I'm going to evaluate this expression now and see if that is in fact equal to x. Well, I think the first step would be to distribute my 2 to both the terms of this binomial. So I'm going to put that all over my 1 numerator. 2 times 1 over 2x is 2 over 2x. And 2 times negative 1/2 would be minus 1 plus 1. This is now 1 over, well, my 2's cross off here, and I'm left with 1 over x. So 1 over x minus 1 plus 1. Well, that's the same thing as 1 over x minus 1 plus 1. And so my minus 1 and my plus 1 go away. So I'm now left with 1 over x. And I can either just flip it over as my reciprocal, or I can show it multiplied out. I can multiply the bottom by x over 1 and the top by x over 1. So I multiply by the reciprocal here, so that cancels out and becomes 1. And I'm left with x over 1, or x. So that way I've shown that it is an inverse. Let me just go back to one spot here where a number of people were having trouble. And that is this piece right here. So, I've written that now separately on a separate board here. And I just want to focus on this piece right there, that piece of the denominator. So I'm going to write it 2 times 1 over 2x minus 1/2. Let's break it apart so we can see the algebra. Well, I have 2 times 1 over 2x minus 2 times 1/2. I just distributed my 2 to those two places. I think everyone's pretty clear that 2 times 1/2 is 1. So that wasn't the problem. The problem was right in here. So I'm going to rewrite this as 2 over 1 times 1 over 2x. And I think then people can see how this works a little bit better. Because if I do that, this piece is equal to, just multiply straight across, 2 over 2x. And now my 2's cancel out, and it becomes 1 over x, and then the minus 1. So a lot of people were multiplying, well, they thought that this was 1x, but see, the thing here is that this x piece right there is in the denominator of that fraction. It is not in the numerator. It is not 1/2 x. It is 1 over 2x. So that makes a difference in how you solve that problem, that piece of that problem. So going back to verifying my inverse here, now I want to do f minus 1 of f of x. How am I going to write that? Well, get myself a clean board again, and I want f minus 1 of f of x. So I'm going to take f of x here and plug it in every time I see x in my f1, the f minus 1 of x. So I have 1 over 2, and instead of x, I'm going to go times 1 over 2x plus 1 minus 1/2. So all I've done is I've taken my f of x right there, and I plugged it in for x right over here. Let's work some algebra on this one. I have 1 over, I'm going to multiply this, so this would be 2 over 2x plus 1 minus 1/2. Well, I don't like that I have a fraction here under a 1. So I'm going to try and simplify this larger term right here. And I'm going to do it by multiplying by the reciprocal. Let's take my 1/2 right here and just move it a little off to the side. I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal here of my denominator. So I will multiply this by 2x plus 1 divided by 2 on the bottom, and by 2x plus 1 divided by 2 on the top. So now I've multiplied my denominator by its reciprocal, so that cancels out and becomes 1, and what I'm left with is 2x plus 1 divided by 2 minus my 1/2. Now notice, just as a pause right here, when I was multiplying, when I have 1 over anything that's a fraction, really what I'm doing is I'm just taking the reciprocal of my denominator, right here, the reciprocal of my denominator, and that becomes my numerator, becomes my whole problem right there. So this is what I have right there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the fact that I have a common denominator of 2, and I'm going to make this 2x over 2 plus 1 over 2. So I'm going to kind of uncommon denominator this. I've just taken 2x plus 2 plus 2x over 2 plus 1 over 2, which you can see I could combine this if I wanted to and have this, but I want to uncombine it. And so now I have still my minus 1/2 from here. Well, plus 1/2 minus 1/2 goes away. 2x over 2 is what I'm left with. I cancel out my 2's, and I find out that, in fact, I'm left with x. So both ways, I've been able to confirm that my f of x and my f minus 1 of x are inverse of one another.